Welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Ollie Davis. AEW Double or Nothing was main evented by the second ever Anarchy in the Arena, where I think we can all agree Claudio Castagnoli lobbing Matt Jackson's boot up the ramp was the spot of the year. Who throws a shoe? But in storyline terms, the biggest shock was Takeshita's heel turn, where he costed the Elite the win, causing Kenny Omega to get pinned by healer Yuta, which Yuta has confirmed on Twitter, posting, "I pinned Kenny Omega. Thanks for clarifying." It's still unclear whether Takeshita and Callis are working alone or if they've aligned themselves with the Blackpool Combat Club, but the heels now have the numbers advantage against the four-man strong Elite. But that might not be an issue for much longer, as Kenny cut a promo after the pay-per-view had gone off-air to the Las Vegas crowd only, saying, "I might not be the most popular guy backstage, but there is a bigger world than AEW, and I still have at least one or two really good friends that can even up the odds. You guys stay tuned. We are not done. This is not over." And it can only be two people. CM Punk and Ace Steel. Just in case they haven't all actually made up though, Omega is likely teasing current free agent and one half of his Golden Lovers team, Kota Ibushi. Speculation and mania is running wild on the other name being Omega's former New Japan rival, Kazuchika Okada, who's currently feuding with Moxley in a separate storyline to fuse those two together. This could align perfectly for AEW's next major event, the second annual Forbidden Door on June 25th. Ibushi left New Japan on very bad terms though, so perhaps we could get Okada helping Omega first, with Ibushi reuniting with Kenny after Forbidden Door once all the New Japan stuff's out the way, because they don't like each other, to set up a 5-on-5 blood and guts match for the All-In Out Shake It All About week in late August. But that's not the only hot young signing potentially on their way to AEW, because Tony Khan has revealed he's been talking to Bill Goldberg. Young whippersnapper. At the post-Double or Nothing media scrum, Khan teased, "Yeah, I have talked to Bill. It wouldn't be that unusual. We have a lot in common and we have a lot of mutual friends. And I have a really good relationship with Bill. I like him a hell of a lot more than I do a lot of the guys in the back." Sorry, I'm CM Punk pipe bombing again. Back to the quote. "As to what I've talked to him about, I would say that's just between the two of us. It was a good chat. I like Bill a lot. He's a great guy. Please, please, please make Goldberg Collision's main star, and the whole CM Punk Chicago thing is just a swerve." Goldberg's WWE contract expired at the end of 2022, and with Collision's branding being heavily WCW Nitro inspired, having the familiar faces of Sting, Goldberg, and Tony Schiavone would be a great way to reconnect with that lapsed audience from almost a quarter century ago. I think they've all moved on. Goldberg actually being Collision's top star seemingly hasn't deterred CM Punk though, who's started promoting the new AEW program on his social media, posting on his Instagram story an image of the Collision poster, tagging almost all the names involved, but with pictures of Danhausen over everyone except House of Black members Malachi Black, Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Presumably because they already have face paint. Or he's setting up a trios match of them versus him and FTR. Nevertheless, I'm seeing double here. 20 Danhausens. Curiously, MJF's face has a picture of old Batman from the Dark Knight Returns comics over him, either meaning Danhausen is Joker or Punk is turning heel on MJF when he returns. The AEW media scrum wasn't quite the same without CM Punk burying the roster and putting over Mindy's Bakery's muffins. That didn't mean Tony Khan had an easy night of it. Not only did he refuse to be drawn into any questions about Punk, he also had to sit through MJF and Tony Storm kayfabe, but also kind of not kayfabe, trashing the company. Khan looked to be in visible pain while AEW World Champion MJF spoke about his favourite subject, not just whether he could leave for WWE when his contract expires at the end of this year, but that he could leave wrestling altogether. Now, does Nick Khan want me to work in his company? Sure. Does Triple H want me to work in his company? Sure. Calm down, Tony, it's fine. Or maybe it's not. But I'm kind of bored of this sport, and I'm bored of the lack of respect from professional wrestling fans. So when I say, take my ball and go home, I mean literally, just hang it up and f*** up the lineage of this title. Oh, I think the lineage has been quite up already. Not done there, Max went on to bury AEW's partner promotion, New Japan. Do I have to wrestle at Forbidden Door? F that. Oh god, it's a effing indie fed, dude. I think New Japan Pro Wrestling sucks. Everyone there is the drizzling S-words. MJF did make sure to say the only person he's a fan of in New Japan is the Great Khan, a notoriously unliked wrestler until he's more recently changed up his gimmick. In Shoot, it's a lot of kayfabe posturing. Max most likely re-signed his contract when he came back last summer, but Toni Storm's comments upon winning the AEW Women's Championship from Jamie Hayter had a very strong undercurrent of her true feelings from her interim title reign last year. With Toni sitting next to her, she said, "I'm sure we can all agree that the interim thing was bull. Right, Toni? Crazy. That was a tough, terrible time." Speaking of Jamie Hayter, Fightful Select has reported the real injury that led to the title change meant there were serious concerns she would not be able to compete in the Double or Nothing match. That's why it was booked as more of a smoke and mirrors, 5-minute beatdown angle rather than an actual match. Despite her loss, Fightful notes that Hayter will receive a top-level push on her return. They also add the very well-received Blackjack Battle Royal was produced by Tony Khan himself, which might be why several talent in the match reportedly did not know they were in it when it was announced, and that at one point it was going to be a Casino Battle Royal format with staggered entrants. The real reason behind Jade Cargill's shock TBS title loss has also emerged, with Cargill set to be taking a break from the promotion. After extending her undefeated streak to 60-0 upon beating Taya Valkyrie, Mark Sterling announced Cargill could wrestle another match, but there's nobody left for her to beat, apart from all the women's championship contenders that have ignored her over the past 2 years. This queued up the awesome return of Chris Statlander, who beat Cargill in 40 seconds to become the new TBS champion. Fightful Select is reporting Cargill is set to be leaving regular action to take some time off soon, if not immediately, following her defeat. It's not known what the reason for her hiatus is or how long it will be, but when Cargill returns, she's expected to have a personality shift of some kind. Statlander has reportedly been planned as the person to dethrone Jade for at least several weeks. AEW appears to be in a much better place following Double or Nothing than the infamous all-out, brawl-out pay-per-view in September 2022. As also according to Fightful Select, a mandatory talent meeting held prior to the event was said to have gone really well, with a former WWE employee receiving a particularly positive reception. The meeting was led by former 25-year WWE employee Adam Hopkins, who now works for AEW's public relations department after surprisingly being released by WWE earlier this year. The general topic of discussion from the meeting was media literacy, with talent being sure to make clear what comments given to media outlets should be off the record in order to protect themselves and the company from the spread of misinformation. Hopkins was described as a game-changing hire from the company, hopefully getting on top of a lot of the negative stories that have been leaked to the press about AEW over the past year. Veterans Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli were also said to have added their own wisdom, Castagnoli apparently reiterating the importance of media in promoting yourself as a talent, the storylines, and the company as a whole, while Danielson said he shouldn't really be giving anyone advice after he once said in an interview that apples were tree semen when he should have been promoting a match with Kenny Omega. It's a thought that really makes me feel a bit weird about Carlito. He loves trees! Fightful Select write that AEW talent were also informed over the weekend about Collision starting with a soft brand split, which could then potentially develop into a harder one. Potentially developing into a harder one, title of your sex tape. But with talent not being told anything specific, it could just be a case of AEW not knowing themselves what they're planning to do either. Now go watch my review of Double or Nothing, which had 2 of the best matches of the year, which I'm going to reenact with these 2 figures. Moral issues aside, he's just not very good and looks like a shadow of his former self. It's depressing. The final few minutes were fun though, with Jeff managing to land all his swanton weight on a Double Guns cover, Double Guns title of my next wrestling pay-per-view, and Hook got the submission.